Okay, now we got chapter 176. This one is called Lose. And it might be referring to Furuta here. It might be referring to his whole plan. Because I don't think this is going to be a series where they're fighting all the way up until the last panel, right? There's like too much other stuff that needs to happen. The actual violent confrontation is almost secondary, almost it's definitely insufficient to resolve kind of the ideological conflicts that have been boiling behind everything, right? Plus, we got to see some happy moments. Birth of a baby, humans and ghouls smiling and holding hands. It's probably not going to be that saccharine, but I think the end of the fight is coming much sooner than the end of the series, and we have not that many chapters left total. 4 more, including this one. All right. Someday it will all be meaningless. As a child, I used to think living, dying, creating, consuming, none of it has value, no meaning. It's all worthless. You, your wife, your child, your friends, even your enemies, everyone dies. Someday nothing will exist. All right, baby's first existentialism. It's not that he's wrong, it's that, this is merely step 1. Did he get much further than that? The world is like a toy chest. You can play as long as you can, but once playtime's over, that's it. Chest is closed and it'll never open again. That's when I decided to ruin everything. This is, again, I think so much of it is just downstream from this mortality, that he knows he will die around 30 years old. As someone who is around 30 years old, it's like, get over it, bud. 30 years is a long time. You got to do a lot of stuff. Well, whatever. I'm sorry. It's like, I think Furuta, he reminds me of Kafka in Final Fantasy VI a little bit, where it's like, he's like so Joker-fied. And it's not that that's not legit. It's not that his nihilism and his raging against the world and wishing to just plunge everything into darkness isn't founded. It's not that it seems like stupid, but it does sort of seem like juvenile, right? That the protagonists are coming at him from a wiser, more emotionally mature, greater perspective, and is like, hey, I struggle with those sorts of feelings too, but there's more to life than that. and I like that. I like that kind of story because I think it like resonates with me, as somebody that had very sad nihilistic periods in their life. And then I think it's just also kind of like a nice message of like, there is so much more to life. It's so stupidly reductive. Well, I shouldn't say stupidly reductive, but it's like a juvenile reduction to land on this sort of nihilism. Coming down here was even your idea. That's true. Kaneki walked into this fight. If you hadn't encountered Rize, you never would have had to take on this difficult role. Which is true, but it's not like he encountered Rize. Like, for so long we thought, yeah, wow, what a terrible thing to happen. Like, just total misfortune, total coincidence. You just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now we know that it's a lot more orchestrated by than that. Orchestrated by motherfuckers like Furuta. But still, there is like a fragility to it. Like, were it not for that one aspect, it really would be like Kaneki's life just wouldn't involve any of this stuff. I was just another person who liked to read. Wow, it's hardly recognizable. He actually kind of looks like young Furuta in this flashback. So long ago. From the day I met Rize, I was isolated from the human world and everything changed. My life was threatened. I was even tortured. Yeah, we know that checkerboard floor. That's where Jason tortured him. Where he had his first of many near-death experience into totally deranged power-up. I lost people I cared for because I was weak, but I also found a place to belong. I made friends and met my mentor. I found love. This is like an interesting way to phrase it, because meeting his mentor. I assume he means Arima. But during that time, he was like amnesiac boy. He was Sasuke. But I suppose now he's very holistic about his life. He's been able to consolidate and make peace with all of these wildly different, sometimes conflicting aspects of his life. And he found love. How nice. I like this very open sky, kind of like windy. There's like ash fluttering through the air. It's like not this kind of artificial perfect setting where he fought Arima or what we've seen in flashbacks of the garden. Instead, it has like a feeling of like, this is what a natural life is. After all my mistakes and all the pain I've inflicted, I still can't think of it as meaningless. Even if I'd known what was coming, I think I still would have gone to see Rize. It was all necessary to me. Wow. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. This is the peace he's been able to reach. Not just in terms of like his future activities, but the entire mess, this huge katamari of his life that has picked up so much insane rubbish. Making peace with that, which is a really beautiful image, I think. Not necessarily my katamari analogy, but like, I don't know, it's a hard thing to do, because everybody's life is complicated. Not everybody has this sort of life, obviously, but everybody's life has strange phases and times in which they were behaving in ways that maybe they would later come to regret or question or, you know, just feel ashamed of. Everybody has revelations that they realize should have come years sooner. And it's hard to make peace with all that. It's hard to see the meaning in all of that and to realize that all of it in some ways was necessary to the person you are now. Hoping and assuming that the person you are now is someone that you're happy to be. This world isn't wrong, it just is. I love this. I love this picture so much. This is so good, dude. I like, one thing I like about it is Tokyo is so tiny on this map. And I've talked before about the scale of Tokyo Ghoul and how interesting it is to me that like they don't really speak to implications outside of Tokyo all that much. They talk about Germany, they talk about ghouls in other places and stuff, and that's like world building. But the scope of the series and the scope of these crises is like only explicitly within Tokyo, and it's up to the reader to kind of like infer whether or not Furuta now is capable of taking over the world, or if he even cares to, or what is even happening in the rest of the world, or what. And I think like this really kind of reinforces that feeling of like it's excuse me. Oh, excuse me. It might kind of almost be inconsequential. So many of the things we've seen. It might feel like small and meaningless or whatever. And even if that's like true in some sense, it doesn't matter. Even if it is inconsequential and meaningless, that's just how it is. And it doesn't change at all the way that you experience your life subjectively, etc. I don't know. I don't know if I can articulate that this well, but I think as well it just kind of speaks, it's like a zoom out on the ideology as well, that like going all the way back to Kaneki and Amon's first encounter, where they both kind of have this realization of how fricked up the world is, how distorted it is. Now this kind of feels like an answer to that question. Like, there might not be an answer to that. Like, there might not be, but that shouldn't send you into this kind of like nihilistic despair, this destructive outrage, but instead just like, that's just how it is. It is what it is. I don't know. I really like this page. I think this is very, very beautifully realized. Even if someday it will all be meaningless, I'm going to keep striving like I am right now, Furuta. You're the only one I could ever understand. Guess this dark hole is where I'll die. Seriously, fuck. Whoa, F-bomb! The world is seriously screwed. If I told you that I wanted a normal life, you'd laugh, wouldn't you? Ah, so I think that vision of family was like what he wanted, and maybe that was the most acute thing that he felt was denied to him by his short lifetime, was raising children and being in a loving relationship. And as he fades away into death, we get another flashback to the Washu household, where Rize was as well. I guess this is like the garden, because Rize wasn't a Washu herself, right? She was just in like this garden training program thing, right? I hope things will always be this way, even when we're old. I never want to be old. Which I guess is Fuduta's real name. Be fun. Will be. Whoa. Alright, I think that's it for Furuta. This very poetic final spread of just this thin, wavering line. I think we are to see as his life terminating. Okay. Alright, Kaneki, back to business. Of course. He's gotta friggin' save Tokyo. There's still big poison goobers being spit out everywhere. That wasn't Furuta. He's gotta deal with something else here. Oviduct should have a core. If you remove that, it should stop producing the poison. He doesn't have time to wait around watching Furuta die and hearing his spiel about the Washu family. Kaneki, promise me you'll come back safe. Okay. Good luck, Kaneki. Oh! Okay, I couldn't tell if this thing was like attacking him or if it was just there. But there's something there. We still have the final battle against Rize, maybe? There's still kind of things left undone there. It would seem a little anticlimactic if he just walks over and plucks out the poison core and it's like, alright, GG. But at the same time, it's kind of like, as I said, there has to be some post-combat stuff. And they're still fighting V. Okay, let's see what happens in 177. 3 chapters remain.